app, and it's coming from the U.S. Department of Labor.
Yeah, which is interesting. You know, everybody's got in the app business,
I guess so.
Now the gov's in it.
All right, now tell us about this. I actually have it pulled up on my iPad here. If you can see it, I don't know. We'll see if we can get a shot of it. But how does this work?
Well, the way it works and the reason they have it is, of course, we have an employment law section, and the majority of our employment law cases are where people don't get overtime, and they should. Well, what happens in a lot of those cases, the government's found out, as we've found out over the years, is people are misclassified. They may say, you know, we're going to call you assistant manager. We're just going to pay you a salary, when that person ought to be getting overtime. Well, the problem with that is when they come to us, there's no records. The employee didn't keep records of how many hours they worked. The employee comes in and says, man, I know I worked, 40, 50, 60 hours a week.
Right.
But we're left with this mess and dispute. Well, to kind of help solve that, and with all our technology now, the government's put this out, and when people start figuring out they should be getting overtime, they just start clocking in and clocking out themselves.
I was going to say, employment attorneys are probably a little bit worried about this app.
Yeah, they are. And it's interesting. You read all the different sides of it. And of course, 95% of our cases we're representing employees, and so we're glad to have it, because that's always a big fight in our cases. And you read the blogs and things from the employer attorneys, and they're like, oh, well, people just put in their own hours, and how can we trust this, and those type things.
Right. Well, the interesting thing is, I mean, it's pretty easy. I'm just sitting here messing with it, and you can, add your employer. You put when you're supposed to be working, how much overtime you had, and then it has a simple button at the bottom that will email the report. So you can email it to yourself or to your supervisor or to your attorney if you need to. And then it also has a button that says contact us. So if you feel like you're being unfairly treated, then you can contact them directly, and you already have it. But that does bring up the whole he said, she said, because the employer is in charge of keeping track of this on their own, right?
Well, they're supposed to, and that's the thing. Under the Fair Labor Standard Act, an employer is required to keep hours. Now, the good thing about that, when they don't, from our perspective, is when they don't keep those hours, it's presumed that what the employee says is correct.
Is correct.
So, and that's especially true once the employee comes in and shows us this. And we always, in these cases, generally you can back it up by showing emails of working late or phone calls. I mean, technology, it ties everybody to that office one way or the other. So we're usually able to back up what the employee says, regardless.
Very cool. Well, it's interesting that they're in the app business now. All right. If you need more information, or if you would like to find out more about this app, you can always find the Higgins Firm online. TheHigginsFirm.com is where you can go, and you said you were going to put a link up to this application on your website. Also, 1-800-705-2121 is the phone number you can call, and if you have questions, send them to us, Tennessee Mornings at fox17.com. Thanks for coming in.
Thank you, guys. All right, thanks, Jim. Well, coming up, getting the most out of your gas tank.
How to stretch each gallon.
Also feeling the